Hi folks, Doc Jake from Sioux Nation Ag Center here. Say, I just got a text from good old generic rancher Ron, and he had a really interesting question for me. He says, "Hey Doc," well that's not the right way to spell hey, but okay, I get the picture. "I need to vaccinate some calves, and I'm getting really tired of pulling up each dose with a syringe and giving it, and then having to reload the syringe." Well, I would be too. What option might I have? Well, I would consider looking at a automatic dosing syringe, or as they're commonly called, a syringe gun. This town ain't big enough for the two of us, partner. So syringe guns are an essential tool that I use for nearly all of my cattle work because they're convenient, they're fast, they make processing go slick. However, it's important to keep in mind that if they are not kept clean, you can have problems. You can see lumps on the calves, you can potentially see abscesses, or if it's dirty inside the syringe, you can even see that the vaccine doesn't work anymore in certain circumstances. So what I want to go through in this video are the different types of syringes that a person could possibly use when working cattle, as well as some tips on how to make sure they're clean and effective. So what you see here is we have a plethora, a cornucopia of syringes that we use here at Sioux Nation to vaccinate cattle with. What I'm going to do is go into the unique aspects of each one, and then we'll also touch on some general cleaning tips for all of them. So to start off with, this is a draw-off syringe, still in the plastic that it came in, and this is branded. You'll see a lot of different ones of these. To be honest with these, I usually don't bother cleaning them because I get them for free. So what I do is I throw them away. A lot of times I use them on gunky stuff, and if it's something that's really gunky, you're not going to be able to clean it very well, so it's better just to use a new syringe. When you need to change syringes, then to try to clean these out, especially since we don't want to use anything that could harm the vaccine if we're using this for vaccine in the long run. Now another common type of syringe to use is the bottle mount syringe. Bottle pops on here, and then to give each dose, we simply push it up against the cow and kapam. Super simple. Obviously easy to reload because you just put a new bottle on when you are out of vaccine. Now with cleaning these, I'll take this piece off the top to wash that off, and a big thing that I like to point out is that I like to clean in here, take this metal piece off of here and clean around where the needle hub is at. Important point to keep in mind, don't leave your needles on your syringes, either one of these or any of them, when you're done, because the vaccine or the antibiotic or whatever the medication is that's in there can start to gum up and you won't be able to get the needles off to change them when you need to. So when you're done, take the needle off, throw it in the sharps container, and clean that area out. Okay, what do I got next? I have all my notes written on my Palm Pilot, which if you don't understand that joke, you're probably too young to understand it, but you can Google Palm Pilot and maybe figure it out. Okay, so here we have a Hopner syringe. It's similar to another one called a Rue syringe. Both of them have this glass case on the inside and this metal shroud. These are pretty accurate syringes, and they take a little finesse because they have this rubberized stopper in there, and when you turn this knob, it has the ability to squeeze that stopper, and that's what keeps the vaccine from leaking back behind the stopper when you give the vaccine. So now a tip when cleaning these is to make sure that you are looking at the condition of that rubberized stopper. If that starts getting old and gunky, it'll lose its elasticity and you'll start seeing more vaccine leak behind these, which will essentially go to waste. So keep an eye on these and maybe have some spare stoppers around. Now you can probably tell because I have a few of them, these are the syringes I use the most. These are the All Flex syringes. I like these because they have a hard plastic barrel and a cast iron handle, which means when a cow tries to slam them up against the chute, they seldom break. Oddly enough, I've usually broken them when I've dropped them, and I broke this plastic part because that's what seems to snap if they hit the concrete. So now to clean these, and we'll show you later in detail, just take this barrel off of here, and to get your deep cleaning, clean in around there where it threads in, and then clean the inside of the barrel as well as the outside and around the hub. Now when you put them back together, keep in mind that you have this O-ring here, like the Hopner and the Rue. Make sure that ring is in good shape. But when you put it back together, don't let that O-ring
come out of the channel that it sits in right there. You want to make sure it stays in that channel so that you can't get vaccine to leak around it. And then also, when you thread this on, take care to make sure it doesn't cross thread, because that'll screw it up kind of permanently. Now this is an NJ Phillips syringe. It's very similar to these all Flex syringes, has maybe a couple different nuances with how you can lock that top button. It comes apart and cleans the same way that you clean an all Flex syringe. Now another pro tip on vaccine, you'll see that I have these syringes labeled. This one's for modified live, this one's for a killed vaccine. This is one we're going to have to clean because it's dirty. And the reason for that is I try to keep my modified live vaccines, my killed vaccines, and if I use one of these for an antibiotic, I try to keep those all separate. Big key, because a killed vaccine or an antibiotic can potentially kill your modified live vaccine, rendering it useless. So if you label them, you're going to do a better job of making sure that you don't mix anything inadvertently, even if it's a very small residual amount that's left in the syringe. Now, this one here, this one's labeled Clostridium for the haul-in, because I'm assuming we have trouble remembering to keep it at the clinic and then end up without one here. Okay, now for some tips in cleaning these syringes. Like I said before, we're going to want to take it totally apart to clean it. Wow, that was loud. Now when I go to clean these, I don't use any detergents of any sort. The reason is any detergent or even just a basic dish soap has the potential to kill your modified live vaccine. So I'm only going to use water, but I can use hot water to do this. So when cleaning, I like to use a toothbrush, not only to get around this part of the syringe here, but to get back in on these grooves to make sure those grooves are all cleaned out and there's no gunk down in there. So on the barrel, I'm also going to clean around the threads here so that I can get the gunk out of those threads. It'll make it go back together easier and help prevent cross-threading. Oh, whistle while you work. This would work a lot better if I could whistle real well. Now the ideal situation is I just set this over now to dry. This way I don't have residual water sitting in there that could potentially harbor bacteria. One thing that's not a bad idea on occasion is to check and make sure your syringe is still dosing accurately. Simply pull up water into your syringe and then set it where it's supposed to be as far as this dial is concerned. And then give a dose into a container that you can measure the amount of milliliters that go in. Continue through the entire syringe until you get to the end, making sure that it's giving an accurate dose every single time. It doesn't seem like a big deal until your syringe is off a little bit and then you get to a point where you have a bunch of vaccine left over, meaning you underdosed the cattle, or you run out of vaccine, meaning you were overdosing the cattle and wasting money. So if you have any other questions about syringes or syringe maintenance, just reach out to us at Sioux Nation Ag Center. We carry all of these different types of syringes as well as the parts for them. So whatever works the best for your operation, we'll be able to get to you so you can vaccinate those cattle, which will help feed that bottom line.
Hi folks, Doc Jake from, I gotta turn the light on. That'd help. Now you can see me better. Better lighting. Reach for the sky. I'm your Huckleberry. I said I never had much use for one. That doesn't mean I don't know how to use it.
I thought this cow was vaccinated.
Not hardly. I need more generic Western phrases. Do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do ya? I know what you're thinking. Did this cow get 5 shots or 6? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know. But being this is an automatic dosing, I gotta try that again.
I'm sitting here thinking 5 shots or 6.
Yeah.
What are you giving?
No crap. I know what you're thinking. Did this cow get 2 shots or 3? To tell you the truth, I don't know. But being that this is a Phillips syringe gun, and faster than a squirrel on steroids, you gotta ask yourself one question. Do you feel lucky, punk?